Yes, we are laughing.
Oh God.
We are laughing.
Everything's fine. We're laughing because
We've had our calm dose for the day, right, guys? And we got more coming.
I
we're
legitimately.
laughing because like we if we don't laugh, we'll cry.
I
So we're
laughed
just
through
laughing.
the whole. When that shot went in, I exploded into laughter. I didn't have no other emotion. I just started laughing. And then I just walked.
There's a saying, it's probably on calm.com. Choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice, okay, folks? A lot
Here
of
it
you are
comes.
watching right now, and you're extremely upset, as you should be. Happiness is a choice.
You know what?
I tweeted before the game that I'm ready to be hurt again, and I didn't realize how true that statement was going to be.
Like
I'm ready to
shot
be hurt again.
chucking, like ignoring how to play to win. It's all a choice, Jimmy.
It's a
Damn
choice,
right.
yeah. It's a choice.
And some
ISO
people
ball
make
is a
the bad
choice.
one.
ISO ball is a
but you
choice.
know- no.
Shot chucking is a choice.
What else?
Happiness is a
Hey,
choice.
someone, hey, Jimmy, someone picked up one of Phil Connors. I like that. I like that.
Did they? Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
No. This isn't.
And then we got don't forget we got needle nose Ned to my left.
Just when you think the Celtics could come up with every single way of blowing games, like here's a new one. Here's a brand new one. Another way. Like,
It's not new. It's not new.
1.5, Sherrod, 1.5 seconds. Like, look, the defense throughout was relatively solid for the Celtics. I give them credit for that. But 1.5?
Bro,
Josue's been in quarantine too long, guys.
this is a Fournier special again.
There should be no space for RJ
only
to get that off. There should be zero
This was
space.
a Fournier. Right.
I mean,
this
he
was
had
a Fournier
pretty close to
special.
zero.
It was the best game he's had, like literally in his entire NBA career high. He dropped on him tonight. Before it was like 32. So Fournier did Fournier things, and the Celtics.
No. Against the Celtics.
This is who they are. This is
Fournier
who they
against
are.
the Celtics. There's a big difference.
That was the best. People are calling for this now, so I'm going to hit it up early. One of our sponsors. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is a
I thought you were going to say Ime comment.
man.
Jimmy, don't do it. We're not going for the full read right out of the gate. Tom.com.
Guys, we
Tom
don't even need a read for this. The read reads itself. The game is the read. If you watch this game, nothing else needs to be said about calm.com/garden. Get 40% off of your night, your life right now.
We should post a sample.
It should be. It's a necessity now. It is an absolute necessity.
How much is your life worth?
You gotta have it.
How much is your life worth? Okay, whatever it's worth, you can get 40% off.
How much is your sanity worth? Yeah.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah. Here's the
So
deal
go
on
do
your
that.
life right now.
Yeah, go do that for sure. And then the other thing I'll say, hold on, and I do want to also point out. Oh, am I full here? No, there we go. I want to also point out another one of our sponsors, and I'm going to start the show with this. Is LinkedIn. Give me a second here.
You're going to start the show with this? What, are we going to restart
I'm not
the
starting the
show
show with LinkedIn. I'm going to say something, which I never do this. I never do this because I never
Don't fire
go in
anybody,
on.
John. Don't do it.
I
He's going
don't
to fire me.
It's not
I
our
do
fault.
not.
It's not our
I
fault.
am not. I'm not a coach guy. I'm not a put it on the coach guy. But I'm pissed off tonight. LinkedIn.com/garden to post your first job for free. Celtics, honestly, at this point,
But you're trying to fire
might need
Ime.
to consider. Might need
You're trying to fire Ime. Oh, wow.
Oh. Are you
So-
We're there already?
I never do
official
this.
calling of the coach?
I never do this.
Wow.
I'm annoyed tonight because of multiple things. This is not, it's so easy to do the whole, Ime's going to grab those guys and tell them what to do. That doesn't work. They're grown men. If they don't want to listen to a coach, they're not going to listen to a coach. They didn't listen to Brad. They're not listening to Ime. It's in their DNA. So play different freaking people, okay? You cannot have two bigs who can't shoot on the court at the same time, or Schroeder and Smart on the court at the same time when you need shots to fall and you have Jayson Tatum as your primary ball handler. Because what happens? You're swinging it to those guys who are taking open shots that you don't want them to take because they're not freaking shooters. So you can't do that. You can't have that as your lineup. It can't be. It was insane. Like, yes, they did this to themselves. They are the ones who, devolved back into ISO ball, started chucking threes, didn't get anything going to the basket because that's what they do. Late in that game, I have no idea what lineups Ime was running out there. I just blew my freaking mind.
Yeah, look, I'm with you on that. Okay, not completely. I'm not ready to fire the guy, but at the same time,
I'm not at all. I'm not ready either. I just got really annoyed
but,
because this is smash your head against a wall sort of stuff. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think some of it you could put it on him, but at the same time, look at this roster. We've been talking about this all season.
Yes,
like, they don't
it's
have
imperfect.
shooters. They don't have
You're
shooters.
right.
Their best shooters are bigs, right?
You're
Was
right.
it Al, Grant Williams, technically, or Jabari. Like, that's the thing about this team. So I can't fault Ime with sticking with that lineup because they were working their asses off. I mean, he started the fourth quarter with that starting lineup, which I thought was telling in itself, right? Like, I don't trust my bench. I'm sticking with you guys. Don't make me regret this.
But having no bench, Josue, on a night, not using your bench at all on the second night of a back-to-back. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's the thing. But that's the thing. Like, if you want to talk about the fourth quarter, I'm not going to point the finger at him and say, like, oh, man, you should have had Romeo out there and Neesmith. No. But to your point, yeah, I mean, throughout the course of the first three quarters, you could have given guys some rest there. But I also don't think he anticipated for them to blow that lead so fast, or not blow it all together. But man, the Knicks hung around the entire second half pretty much, So
Josue, I am going to point the finger at him, and I am going to put him on blast about that because he should have done better. He's been an NBA player, an NBA assistant coach, and now a head coach long enough to know that on a back-to-back on the road, you got to dig a little bit deeper than your core group. You have to. And on a night where you were making, and and here's the thing, you were leaning on the one thing that you know damn well has been, frankly, your Achilles heel, and that's your shot making. You know, as quickly as the law of averages always catches up to this team on a night in, night out basis. If they're making shots in the first and second quarter, you know damn well more likely than not, those shots aren't going to fall in the third and fourth. This was a night where you're bringing a guy like Sam Hauser, when shots were falling, bringing a guy who needs to have an environment where guys are making shots because he hasn't been as good a shot maker as we know he's capable of doing. This would have been a perfect night to throw him out there for 2, 3, 4 minutes at a point where you're making shots. Everyone is making shots. That stuff is contagious. I'm telling you. We've seen it happen like that. And when you get a guy like that or Neesmith or whoever starting to make shots, feeling better about themselves, this game becomes a lot easier for them. It becomes a lot easier for you. So I absolutely 100% put this one on Ime.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So let me say real quick.
Does that mean I want him to be fired? No, it doesn't mean I want him to be fired.
Me neither.
But this is a game that, to me, when you start slicing up the blame pie, I get a big ass slice for him.
I am too.
Big ass slice.
Ime's got to do something here in this game. This needed more management tonight. And Jimmy, go ahead.
I think it definitely needs some management. And we talked a lot yesterday about the Celtics missing an in-game manager in the, and again, throwing the name Chris Paul out there. Obviously, you can't get a Chris Paul, but that type of a player, a leader, somebody who's been there, done that, who can sort of, right the ship when it's starting to sway and all those, all those things that you want to use. So what does Ime say right after the game tonight? We need someone to stay calm late, not someone adding to it when things start to get sped up. At times it feels like everyone tries to do it on their own. And then he had another quote, and I'll paraphrase, but he basically called out the team for mental toughness. Oh, yeah, he said, it's been the same result. We lack some kind of mental toughness. So, again, and we joke about Groundhog Day, but, I mean, he goes out and basically says it. They're losing the same ways.
He's literally saying the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah. Right, but in my opinion, also, Sherrod, you have to remember that this starting five doesn't have a whole lot of reps together, right? They're almost never completely healthy.
But Josue, we can say that, but you know what?
In that fourth quarter, going into that fourth quarter, you had enough of a cushion. You had enough of a good offensive approach. I mean, shit, you got guys, scoring threes that we haven't seen from the start pretty much all season long. And
I know.
You roll with those guys.
I understand.
I don't mind that.
But again, you have to recognize at this point, it's endemic at this point. It's a fourth quarter problem, regardless who's on the floor. So you can't, this lineup without without shooters and without anybody who can do anything other than ISO and take jack threes or take contested twos, a group of people that don't find a way to get easy buckets for one another, the offense is going to stagnate and defenses are going to tighten up in the fourth quarter in close games. And you can't keep running that lineup out there. It simply doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. Schroeder Smart doesn't work. It doesn't work late in those games. It's bad. It really doesn't work. And the double big lineup doesn't work when you need offense. It doesn't work. So you have to stop. You got to stop.
Right, and we talk about
It's a crutch.
Jaylen, Tatum, those guys weren't shooting well. They didn't have a good shooting night.
It doesn't matter. Schroeder, that's more of a reason to go away from them, because if Schroeder's hitting
the last couple of minutes, Schroeder and Smart, that can't be you can't close out games that way.
That's all I'm saying is I like Schroeder coming in for instant offense with those second units, but when we're going too often with that double big or the double point guard lineup, which really limits what you can do offensively because you don't have enough shooters. So even when you do what Ime wants and swing the ball around, you have no one to swing it to. It doesn't go to the right people. So it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And when we talk about Groundhog Day, not only are we talking about the lineups and we're talking about the players, but we're also talking about the decision making by Ime. I mean, it seems that every single game we see when Tatum and Brown are healthy, Tatum is going to play more minutes than Brown. And to me, I would love to see them flip that fourth quarter switch where you got Brown on the floor early, not Tatum. Have Tatum come in with maybe 4 minutes to play and see how do something to shake things up. Because right now you're predictably pathetic in how your lineups are being used, the impact that they're making. And frankly, Jaylen, as we know, he's the best downhill scorer they got. The one guy that can finish at the rim. And that kind of is important in the fourth quarter. This was another game where, and I'm not blaming Jaylen on this, because to me, Jaylen, we've seen that Jaylen is better when you get. See, and that's my point.
That's the thing.
Jaylen is better when you get him the ball. I don't like Jaylen having to create his own shot down the stretch. I love when guys get him the ball and allow him to attack. That is when he's at his best. That's when he's not turning the ball over. That's when he's getting shots at the rim. We don't see that. Yet we take that back. We see that in the first and second and some of the third. We just never see it when it matters most in the fourth. I don't get it.
Here's a good stat.
Go ahead, Josue.
Games when Tatum's starting to heat up, he shies away from it a bit,
So a couple things. I mean, we were looking at back-to-backs here. You scored 41 points yesterday. It was 22 and 19, and 42 points in the second half tonight. 21 and 21. That's freaking pathetic. We talked about like that second quarter when they went bananas from three. I texted you guys at halftime. I hated it. Hated the offense. Didn't think it was sustainable. What happens in the second half? 2 of 9 from three from the third, 4 of 13 in the third quarter. They had 14 assists in the first half, 8 assists in the second half. Virtually nothing going to the basket until Tatum late had those couple of buckets. Virtually nothing at all. Absolutely not even close to what it is that they're trying to accomplish on offense. Total breakdown almost the second the whistle blows to start the fourth quarter. And they're doing it time and again. It for a while was the 5-minute or the 3-minute mark of fourth quarters. They're literally doing it the second they step on the court in the fourth quarter. Complete I forgot how to play basketball. Even if they were going well for 3 quarters, they completely I don't get it. I'm completely at a loss.
It's almost like ingrained in them, right? Where it's like they know they're going to lose this game, or they know they're going to blow this game, right? It's just, they're almost waiting for it to happen. It's like they're creating their own, whatever, it sucks. I just saw a stat that Celtics and Pelicans are the only 2 teams that have blown 4 leads of 15 points or more this year. They had a 25-point lead tonight. And they've lost 6 of their last 7 games that it's come down to crunch time, which means within 5 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. So, 1, they can't hold on to big leads. They can't play with the lead. And 2, they have nobody, and this probably goes back to what Ime said, they have nobody that can sort of guide the ship into port, right? I mean, they have nobody that can win the game or can can kind of just put them over the edge or put them over the top down the stretch. It's always
I don't get it.
Circus shot or, drive to the hoop craziness. And I mean, think about the last couple of losses here.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, Jimmy.
It's
if
unreal.
this thing went the other way, we'd be saying Jayson Tatum came and delivered, right?
What do you mean it went the other way? No, we wouldn't. If
No,
the
we wouldn't.
Celtics,
What do you
if the
mean?
Celtics,
36 points, 12 of 21. He hits
What
the
do I
big shot
mean?
down the stretch.
Yeah,
We would be
Jayson
saying
Tatum was
blew a
Tatum bailed their
25
ass out.
point lead.
That's what we would be saying. We
Yeah.
would say
Jayson
Tatum
Tatum was-
bailed their ass out
Yes,
of the game.
and
Tatum was
they should've
awesome.
lost.
But no,
Jayson
but
Tatum
that's the
still
thing,
won.
though,
We can
like-
still do a little segment on Jayson Tatum if it's going to make everybody happy. But at the end of the day, the
'Cause he was
grand
good.
scheme of things, yeah, he was good,
very
and he was
good.
he was
He was
hitting a ton of
outstanding.
shots. He had a slow start to the game, but he had a great overall game. You know, once again, Jaylen Brown had the hot start. Jaylen Brown faded. At some point, Tatum took over, and yeah, he was hitting massive threes for them. That shot that he had that put them, that last shot that he had to put the Celtics up was unbelievable.
How
Nice
many
little
baskets do
creative
you think they
space,
made
step
in the
back.
fourth? How many baskets did they make in the fourth quarter as a team?
I don't know. Tell us.
How many would you guess?
How many field goals or points?
Yeah, field goals.
I'd say 7.
6. Tatum made 4 of them.
Shit. 6?
6.
Yeah, I mean,
Jaylen Brown took 1 shot. Marcus Smart took 6 shots. He made the other 2. They were both threes. That's the whole freaking fourth
he missed
quarter.
a big 3 too.
That's
And-
it. He
and
made.
he
He went
don't
2.
even-
He took
They didn't
6
have that-
3.
that-
He
that
took
20
6
point
threes.
Oh, he's all 6 of his shots were threes.
Marcus took 6 threes in the fourth quarter.
And they took 13 threes out of 17 shots.
That's just
13
too
threes out
many.
of 17 shots.
This
and
is
what?
just too many.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
13 threes. What are we doing here?
I know, and Ime, did Ime ever say anything to him, I wonder, during the game? Like, hey, like, maybe don't. Like, maybe try something different. Maybe pass it to somebody else for that shot. Anything? I mean, why is Marcus Smart taking 6 threes and Jaylen Brown taking 1 total shot?
I don't get
He
it.
just
And,
had 50 points.
Everyone mad about Schroeder. Schroeder had 1 field goal attempt in the fourth quarter. So
Schroeder's field goal
And he
attempt
also-
was a
and he
bad
also
one. I will
only
say
had-
that.
it was a horrible one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But he
Jaylen Brown
also
pushed
only
over
turned the
Jayson.
ball over 1 time, and it was at the very end. That was his
Right
only
after a
turnover of the
timeout,
game.
and he just dribbled into people. It was
Into
like
a crowd of
it was like a
flames.
suicide
Man.
bomber. He literally just friggin' absolutely just dribbled into a mass of people.
It's like
and
he
lost
forgot
the
to let
ball.
go of the turbo button. He just
Yeah.
kept going. Yeah.
Oh my god, that was unbelievable. So what are you doing? What are you
Of course, that didn't
doing?
get you benched.
Ime
right?
should call. Ime should save
Yeah,
all his
that
timeouts
should get you
and
benched.
call them every 90 seconds in the fourth quarter. You know, just guys every 2 possessions. Guys, what are we doing? Let's
Or
not
better
do this.
yet, pull a Popovich and call one within the first 20 seconds of the game when you
Yeah.
realize your team is not ready. I mean,
They
how
weren't
many
ready in the
times have we
first 20,
seen them
though.
go-
They weren't ready in the last 20. They had a great start to this
He's
game.
got to get a better. He's got to get a better pulse for those guys when they're losing it before they lose it. He has to
Right.
get. He has to.
And-
get
This
that.
goes
so-
back to Brad year. Would scream at Brad because he'd watch these leads dwindle and would be like, call timeout, call timeout. Why won't this guy call a freaking timeout? I'm not saying that was the case tonight, but still, you saw the way that the Knicks chipped away in a big way in that third quarter. Well, they had a hot end
And
to
you
the second quarter, and then they
But-
carried that momentum right into the third quarter. I don't know if Ime made one single adjustment at halftime. But
This
the
is
Knicks
where you
plotted-
have to. Yeah, that's where
plotted
Ime
to,
has to come in,
5,
Jimmy.
7 points. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's where coaching definitely comes in. And I've been, I also haven't really been that critical of Ime, but to come out like right after the game and be like, oh, it's mental toughness and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, you can use all the buzzwords you want, buddy, but at the end of the day, like, you had this win. Draw up the plays, create the mismatches, get to the line, do whatever you have to do to win this game. I mean, at some point you're criticizing yourself if you're calling the team mentally weak. I mean, you're the coach of this team. I mean, a lot of what coaching has to do, a lot of what coaching is not just X's and O's. It's getting the team mentally prepared for going into Madison Square Garden, one of the most hostile environments, the best place to play maybe in the world playing basketball. I would say it is the best place to play basketball in the world. Getting these guys' minds in the right place to close out the win.
And so that's where I'm going back to it. I am not blaming Marcus Smart for taking 6 threes. He is supposed to shoot that ball in that situation. That's what it's supposed to happen. When it swings to the open guy who's standing
They're giving
behind
him
the
those
arc,
shots.
but I'm saying but if those are the guys who are there on the court when you're swinging the ball and the attention is on Tatum and they swing it to the open guy, and those guys are Schroeder and Smart, yes, the defense wants you to shoot those. That's a win for them. Smart is supposed to take that shot. He is. What are you going to do? Pass up a dead open
Right?
look?
No.
He has
especially
to.
especially 40% smart, right? Like he's not passing that up. Like if he makes 2, he's gonna take
And
that
that's-
all night. Like,
Yeah, and that's where Ime has to do something there, which is like, if we're gonna do this, I need the offense to do this, not that. You know, like you can't have, is what Sherrod said. I mean, you can't allow your team to take 13 of 17
here,
shots
John.
from behind the arc with those lineups. No, I queued up some Ime. Here's Ime talking about the loss after the game. Hang on. Trying to play it. Here it comes.
Oh, we're back. Josue busted. Josue
What happened?
busted.
Josue, where'd you go?
Josue thought we were going big screen.
When you play the clip, you gotta play the clip.
I'm trying to, buddy.
Happening.
Yeah,
We're gonna
messing up my swag.
Where'd he go? Did he
Messing up
leave?
my swag.
Got him.
Technical difficulties,
getting some
Josue. I also
technical
just wanted to catch you. I wanted to catch you in the act.
Just rude.
We got
He's trying to-
Josue back, but now we lose Ime. Damn it.
We're gonna
I
try
hope
for
that's
Ime
not
one more
coffee.
time. Hang on.
I hope that's not coffee at 10:30.
Message was short and sweet. It wasn't about the last play again. It was everything leading up to it. And we need some leadership. Somebody that can calm us down and not get rattled when everything starts to go a little south. And I think it snowballs between our guys. And so step up, or do I have to stop all our momentum and pace and call a play? You know, so that's what I said to him.
I heard half. Got the gist of it.
So,
I think that's part
it
of what
was
I
a-
read. Yeah.
It's the quote you said about someone stepping up. And again, Sherrod, this is what we're saying Ime is supposed to do to calm things down, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of his job, and particularly when you're at a point where we're damn near at the halfway point of the season, and it's pretty damn clear that what he's talking about, it ain't coming from your roster. Marcus Smart is not bringing that. Jayson Tatum is not bringing that. Jaylen Brown is not bringing that. Al Horford is not bringing. None of those guys are bringing what you're talking about. So if your players aren't bringing that, guess what? You, the coach, have to put that
Right.
into the game. You got to
Right.
be the one because
I'm
my
surprised.
biggest issue. My biggest issue with Ime right now is that he it feels as though he's talking the talk, but he's not walking the walk. You talk about accountability. You're talking about leadership. Guess
I was
what?
just
You
about
need
to
to be
say that,
you need to be the change that you want to see. And it's at
In
some
the world.
point, sooner rather than later, he has to be that guy. What the hell did you say, Jimmy?
That's
He
a quote,
said-
man. That's the calm quote, right?
But it's becoming like, again, I
Be
don't
the
know.
change you want to be in the world. He said he's just being. He's
Yeah.
being
I don't
stupid.
know,
But
like
He's just been an asshole. I
people
love
following,
Jimmy, though.
how closely
Your
following,
point is absolutely correct.
Sherrod's getting
Not
you
to
getting ready
take
to
away.
spaz. You're like, wait, what did you just say, Jimmy? Wait, hold on, what's
Not
going
to
on?
take
Yeah, I
away
was
what
like,
he
what the hell
said.
you say?
Am I the butt of this joke?
but we're,
You know I'm pissed.
we are
I'm angry
approaching.
mode.
We're approaching kind of out of touch zone with Ime. Like, a lot of people, if you're an NFL fan, and Giants fans, losing their minds this year over Joe Judge. Joe Judge goes and gives a press conference at the end of the year, about like,
Scorched earth.
yeah, we are doing, and we're in the right direction, and the heart in this room, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like,
Dude,
none
you're
of
gone.
yeah, like none of this is happening. You're like, and you're supposed to fix it. Like, we're looking at you, buddy.
Right.
But there's a lot
Like-
of commenters. A lot of commenters have the right of this. It is a absolute, like, you can complain about everything they're not doing, and then you look for the answers and they don't exist. Like, every time I say, or one of us says, they need more shooters on the court, everybody rightly says, which freaking ones,
Mhm.
and you say, I guess Grant, maybe Romeo, Neesmith, I don't know, I guess Richardson, I don't know. Who are they?
Right.
They're not great,
Threw up.
Right. And then for your
Right.
head coach to not, I was literally going to say the same thing. Like you've been talking about accountability since training camp. And, this is your first year as a head coach. We're about halfway through the season. And I'm really surprised for him to say that. Like, we need a leader. Like, that should be you. Like, you, like first impressions mean a lot, but we're still sort of in that first impression phase. And I don't like that. I don't like to hear that from the Celtics head coach, where they're supposed to be turning for the better, right? At this point, playing under 500 teams for this next stretch of games, and you got another loss here. Like, yeah, I'm shocked he said that. I'm really surprised.
Yeah. People are looking for a little bit of blind positivity here and wondering where Bobby is.
Yo, New
Where's
York must be
Bobby?
going crazy right now.
He actually
Bobby-
texted us and said he was in.
Bobby's at MSG, and he is gathering some post game right now. So he'll be joining us. In a little bit.
Everyone, don't worry. Bobby's gonna get his 45 minutes of Evan Fournier talk. So just stick around. You're gonna get it. He's gonna tell the
Bobby, go catch
Celtics
Marcus in the
royally
hallway.
screwed this up.
Yeah.
Celtics totally screwed this up by not re-signing Evan Fournier. So just stick around. You're gonna get that.
With massive audience right now, and I thank you guys for hanging out. I think everybody's kind of feeling what we're feeling right now, which is like
Nobody can sleep tonight. Nobody can sleep
beside
tonight.
himself right now.
So thank you guys for watching. Those are watching. Perfect time to shout out a couple of our sponsors once again. Jimmy, go ahead. Tell them about the number one sleep and meditation app.
So you're up right now. You can't sleep. You're fuming. You're steaming. You just can't
Go ahead,
believe
Josue, take a
that
walk.
the Celtics did this to you again. You just got over last night's loss, and guess what, folks? All you were ready to do was be hurt again, and here we are.
And here's the clip of Ime
It's
Udoka
Groundhog
right
Day.
here.
I'm Phil Connors. He's Ned Ryerson. And
Bing!
Bing, absolutely. So you know what you want to do?
What is that?
Unfortunately, this show cannot go all night long. It can't go into the wee hours of the night. But you know what can? Com.com/garden. Go to that website. You'll get 40% off your subscription. You're going to get sleep sounds, sleep skates, sleep stories, meditation practices, inspirational quotes maybe, things that will make you feel better. Because you know what the Celtics right now are not doing is making you feel better. Hopefully this show helps you a little bit. But com.com/garden actually is put together by a bunch of people who really know how to make you feel better and sleep better, and you'll go to work tomorrow not still fuming from last night. How about that? Maybe we can get you to do that.
You'll
There we
wake up
go.
a new person.
A brand new person, and you'll be
Brand
ready
new
for the
person.
Celtics to hurt you. You'll be completely recovered and ready for the Celtics to hurt you all over again. Whoever they play next, I don't even know.
It's Saturday night, so you know
It's
Saturday
New York.
night,
They're
perfect.
you can go out
Same team.
afterwards or not. You know.
Same team?
Same team.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be fun.
Back in
Actually,
the
The
Garden.
Fournier tour continues. Let's go.
wow.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks everybody.
Yes.
Celtics fans gonna welcome him right back to home. You know, right back.
So
at
also
TD Garden.
support our sponsors. You guys like our show? Support our sponsors so we can keep doing it.
Thanks,
And
Jimmy.
send Jimmy the receipts. He wants to see.
And say I want the receipts.
Yeah, we'll
If
split
you
it.
show me a
with you.
receipt, if you show me a receipt, I'll hit you back with a follow. How about that?
Yeah.
I'll hit you
There we
back with a
go.
follow.
Nice.
Ooh.
Oh
Terrible.
God.
And so will
That's
Josue.
right.
So will Josue.
I guess. Sure.
He's like, Joseph, like, what the hell you get me in this for?
Josue is gonna retweet your tweet to
I
him.
don't know how much of a prize that is, but all right.
So
Josue will make you a guest on the Causeway Street podcast too, if you show your proof.
That I might do. I might do that.
All right.
So let's dice up a couple of different things. It's the same thing. We keep making the Groundhog Day jokes, but let's get a little more granular. What is it? You know what stinks is like we don't get to talk about Rob and Tatum, both of whom had excellent games tonight, because who cares?
Right.
Like, it's lost in this. But
Hold on, real quick. Someone just wrote Sherrod is texting the Pistons like, "Yo, you up?"
You know who I was? Hey, you guys want to know who I was texting? You want to know who I was texting?
Pistons are next.
Kyle
That's
Draper.
Kyle Drake.
Kyle Draper. Drape's reached
Drake's
out to
wants the
me. and-
explanation, huh? Drake's
Yeah,
confused.
I'm gonna. Normally, I don't put people's texts on blast, but I'm gonna put his on blast because I'm just gonna do it.
He said
He
that team's
texted me and
trash.
says,
What he
"Nice."
said.
No, he didn't say that. He just said, "Nice team you have there."
Wow, that's
Yo,
coming from the
he's
Kings. The Kings guy.
Yeah, right.
Damn.
Exactly, and he's right. I mean, the low key sarcasm is deserved. I mean, this team is playing like ass. I mean,
And
if
he's
we're
in
being
Cali
honest.
right now, probably on his porch chilling.
We had
Yeah, but
Draper
it's-
on last year. We need to get him back on again.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, he's had some big calls lately. I've seen a couple of his.
I know I
of his
saw him
calls.
on Twitter being a friggin' homer.
Yeah, huge homer with the dunks.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
sorry.
all right.
I knew I would forget that comment, so I had to get that out there. But yeah, go ahead. John.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
This team, we're talking about change. I mean, they have to make some kind of change, and as reluctant as they may be to make an external change, they can do some things internally. I think at this point, the way that Al Horford is shooting the ball, you can't keep him in your lineup. You can't. He's killing you. There was a sequence where I think he had like 3 consecutive wide
who
open
can't
shots.
you keep in there?
Wide open threes, man.
Al Horford. I think
No.
I think Al has to come off the bench.
I do
You
too.
got to me. That's the easiest way to address the need to do some type of shakeup.
we're
You
talking
got
Grant.
to do it.
We're talking Grant, right, Sherrod? Or are you talking about going smaller?
Yeah, I'm talking Grant or either Grant or Jay Richardson. One of those two needs to be in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
One
I
of
think
those
so
two.
too.
I think
I
it's
think so,
time.
too.
I think it's time. I mean, Horford.
Because what you,
I
yeah,
think Horford was your like pretty much steadiest guy to start the season, but he's an older guy. Exactly. You weren't
I
going to
mean,
keep
Grant.
that pace
See, that's
up.
the thing. The reason why I would consider it is because Grant, he's not the same defender he was 2 months ago. Like he's improved on that end for sure. So
he's better.
Yeah, but Grant
He's-
Grant is officially turning back into Grant Williams. So I think we might have missed that opportunity. He turned into a pumpkin. It is what it is. Like
he had a couple stops.
Guys, he's not a
0
45
points tonight.
He's
0
not a
points.
45% three-point shooter.
You know what
I'm
it
talking
is?
about defense though, but yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what happened to Grant? His name got on the scouting report. That's what happened to Grant. If you notice, the reason he's not shooting those corner threes as much anymore is because teams aren't letting him get to the corner and be wide open. They're forcing him to put the ball on the floor, shoot little baseline mid-range jump shots, which he does not shoot. They're forcing him to get the ball on the wing away from the corner so that he's either going to keep the ball moving so he's not shooting, or he's going to try to put it on the floor and do something, which he's not good enough right now to really help the Celtics in that regard. That's why, to me, you put him back in that you put him in the starting lineup, you have an opportunity for him to get a little bit closer to the Grant we saw at the beginning of the season than it is now. Because right now, when he steps on the floor, teams are already locked and loaded to take him out of what he has grown accustomed to doing.
Yeah. I mean, we remember with the Lakers, with LeBron. LeBron would look at him and be like, no, I'm not going to guard this guy.
Right.
He's Grant Williams. No.
Yeah. He's like, what? No. I'm going to help over here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
let me ask you. I want to go back to it. What's going on with Jaylen in these fourth quarters? The fourth quarter numbers are bad throughout, and sometimes they're bad in the no-show category, like they were tonight, which is a problem in itself. And sometimes they're bad in just the bad shooting category. They're bad this year. He's really struggling in fourth quarters, if not completely disappearing. Like. We talk about Ime needing to involve him, putting it on him. Like, what's happening? I mean, I know Josue's got his theories, but what do you guys think? This is a strange thing to have really only 2 good players on your team and have one of them disappear completely in fourth quarters, and having Marcus take 6 threes and Jaylen take 1 shot. I don't understand it.
I don't either, especially when you look at tonight where Jaylen played like over 8 minutes in the fourth. So it wasn't like he was out there for a little bit of time. That doesn't make sense that a guy that good only gets 1 shot. I can't fathom that the Knicks defense all of a sudden became that locked into limiting him and his impact. And Jaylen, I think there's still a part of him that's a little bit play deference to Jayson Tatum, who had a pretty good fourth quarter, had 13 points, 4 of 8 shooting.
He was great.
I need to see Jaylen Brown be more assertive in the fourth quarter. I really do. Because about a week ago, I looked at his numbers, and Jaylen Brown is a top 20 scorer in the NBA in the first, second, and third quarter. Once the fourth rolls around, last time I looked, he was somewhere between 40 and 50. That should not happen. There should not be that dramatic a drop-off in your ability to score down the stretch when you've shown the ability to be very consistent through the first 3 quarters. They need to do a better job of creating plays specifically for Jaylen to score. That's simple.
I mean, especially on the second half of back-to-back where
especially on the second half of back-to-back.
But that problem was already highlighted going into this one. And we see the same problem the very next day. I mean, what was it? How many attempts did he have in last night's fourth quarter? And then you turn to this game and you're like, wait, it's the same thing. Honestly, I just think when Tatum starts cooking, when he starts warming up, he shines in the moment. You couple that with the fact that he missed a game-winning or game-tying layup last night. That didn't help his confidence, I don't think. The hostile environment in New York, the way Evan Fournier was, I just think at times in the fourth quarter, he decides to, okay, I'm going to buckle down defensively, and I'm going to let guys do the thing, especially if guys are already starting to pick up momentum and are feeling it. But when the Celtics need a bucket, I mean, I'm with you, Sherrod. Like Ime has to find a way to set him up. I mean, top 20 scorer. You have Tatum out there as well. it's very rare outside of. See, that's why this loss was so disappointing. Well, one of the many reasons, but like you get Tatum the look that he wanted. You set him up. You know he drains it with just enough time, just a little bit of time left, and you don't close out that game. And look, I know that last shot can happen. One step you get that look, but I just think RJ just didn't like. I just feel like he shouldn't have been able to create that much space. Like I just 1.5. Like look, I'm not saying the game that's how they lost this game. It came down to that exact play, but it was salt on the wound because
I mean he had time to catch the ball, dribble, and raise up in 1.5 seconds.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like the Celtics were like, oh, this is going to OT. We got this, and it's just like no, like that's the old Celtics or the one that the bad Celtics that shows up every other game.
You know
reason
what,
why this team is 500.
The more I watch them play, it to me, it feels as though the Celtics are a team that has players who want to win, which is like every other team in the NBA. But there's a difference between wanting to win and caring about winning. I don't think this team cares enough about winning to win these games that are very winnable. And caring about winning is doing whatever the hell you got to do to get the W. If that means setting a screen so that Jaylen Brown can get a clean lane to the basket, you do that. If that means passing up a good shot because your teammate is wide open in the corner for a great wide open look, you do that. I don't think they care enough about winning to do the winning plays that you have to do to be successful in this league.
Well, they're doing it on their own terms, right, bro? Like, I think
but that's not caring about winning. It's just what you describe it as. It's doing your shit, doing it on your terms. That's not caring about winning.
Right.
And I've said that,
and
again, I've been saying this about Tatum and Brown for a couple seasons now. It's like, and I think John kind of disagrees, but these guys, they know a certain way to play, but at some point you have to learn to win. Not what it takes to put up 25 and 8 or whatever.
Right.
You have to learn what it takes. You have to adjust to your game, and that's why I think what Ime is saying is they don't have that guy that's going to say, hey, listen, young fella, you got to change. This is what matters. This is how you're going to get us to the next level. This is how you're actually going to get yourself to the next level. It's not by just having the blinders on and doing your thing down the stretch. I think in the fourth quarter, to answer John's first question,
I love that moment, though. We'll talk about that later.
Jaylen Brown? What moment? All right, in a second. I think what happens is there's no structure on this team. There's no
plan.
There's no defined purpose. It's like people joke about what is the point of this podcast? What is the point of like these players all together playing in the last 5 minutes? I read the stat earlier. They just can't seem to get together. There's no direction. Nobody knows what's supposed to happen on the next possession. It just kind of happens organically in a bad way, though. Like not good organic. People want to say organic in a good way. It's not. There's no like direction here. Here's what in that part of it, that's Ime's fault for sure. You're the coach. Get these guys in a position to win. Put them in a position to succeed. That's what being a coach is all about, right? Is putting your guys in a position to succeed. That's why Bill Belichick is regarded as one of the greatest coaches of all time. He takes bad teams or mediocre teams and he makes them better. That's the mark of a good coach. Anyone can go out there and say and rely on the players to be good players. They already are good players. The talent is there. But when it comes down to winning, you need to be more than just talented. You need to play together. You need to play to your strengths, and you need to play to win. Play to win the game.
You play to win the game.
And you know what? You know what's a telling stat?
My man Herm.
We have enough sample size to show just how bad things can get in the fourth quarter. The Celtics, this is the 12th loss this season where they lost from 5 points or less. They had 20. 19.
They can't close out.
You want to?
Excuse me. They have 21 losses. That's almost half of their losses are by 5 or less points.
You're talking like 1 or 2 possessions.
Do you want a stat that will break your brains?
Yeah.
The Knicks were one win and 229 losses when trailing by 25 plus points in a game over the last 25 seasons.
Wow. History was made tonight. And that goes back to that goes back to the 90s. It's a completely different Knicks squad then, like those
that team went to the finals.
Those are good
but for real though, you talk about like those guys winning and making plays to win and not knowing this and that. You're right. They don't know. And it's not just the stars. It's literally everybody. Like, Marcus Smart might be the only one who has it in his DNA in terms of making the play that needs to get made at a certain time. He's the only one who does, and you see that he'll make it happen.
Winning plays.
But it's true,
Go ahead,
though.
say it, John. Say it. Winning plays, Marcus.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
John's not saying that shit.
My
He's not gonna
beef
say
against
it.
the winning plays
tonight.
Marcus Smart was more of a, it doesn't undo every other thing that he's done. He can't go 1 for 10 from 3 in a game, make one winning play and be like, that's why you have him. But he's still the only guy whose sole purpose is, I got to make a play right now that's going to make a difference. And he does it, and he wills it to happen.
He's
And
done
you
it.
have, then
He's
you have
done
the-
it. It's different than saying he does it.
But he recognizes
He has done it.
what needs to get done. The other guys are like, I hope my shot goes in. And then
Right.
you have a situation like Rob yesterday where he's got
Oh.
2 opportunities. The ball's on his freaking mid at half court. Collect it. The
Yeah.
ball comes off the rim
Here
with
it comes.
Jaylen. Slam it. Like,
Yeah.
make the play. Do not just, it's plausible and understandable for it to go off your hand. Make sure it doesn't happen.
Right.
Focus in that moment. When you see that thing, grab it like your life depends on it. Those are winning plays, so to speak. That play has to get made. They don't have enough guys who make that play ever. They just don't.
Right.
If it goes in or they have a good shooting night, they win. And they're front runners.
And that was the first half. Yeah.
Our
when
shots fell.
And then everyone says, "Oh, look what happens when the shots go in."
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, they don't go in at 50% every night.
Yeah.
They might for a quarter or a half, but that's not reasonable. That's not how you win the game.
Yep.
Damn it.
Are we done?
Damn it.
Dang,
Com.com/Guardian. Com.com/Guardian. Okay. Deep breath in, everybody. Deep breath out.
Com.com hired
While
Jimmy
we're
for-
waiting,
when they hired Jimmy for the commercials.
Yeah.
They have hired Jimmy. Yes.
LinkedIn.com.
You can see him on NBA TV when you're watching the game.
We're gonna take a quick break. Tell you about one more sponsor here, LinkedIn. And again,
Don't forget these guys.
Hard to find and hire the right candidate for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. And we use LinkedIn 100%. It's an extremely valuable tool. Go and create your first free job post in minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Minutes.
People are sitting here right now saying, I don't need to hire anybody. You know what? You might need to.
Just
do it. It's free. You can just literally go post a job application, and all your friends will be like, "Wow, he must be doing pretty well. Like he's looking for an assistant, or he's looking for somebody to work underneath him. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Even if it's an intern."
The second act is totally different than the first with this one, Jimmy. Focus on the candidates with just the right skills and experience, and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. This is why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1, delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. So, Jimmy, take it away and do the call to action, my friend.
Yes, you want to visit linkedin.com/garden. Post your first job for free. Again, you don't have to be the CEO of a company. If you're looking for hired help, that's the place to do it. LinkedIn. Everyone's on LinkedIn now. Everyone's on LinkedIn. And Facebook is out. LinkedIn is in. All the worst.
Josue, how many people?
What you mean?
Oh yeah.
How many people?
How many millions of people?
World?
How many people are on LinkedIn, my friend?
Yo, the entire world? Yo,
how many?
How many?
World? 700 million.
World.
At least 700 million.
No
700
way.
million is so much. It's just funnier if you say 700.
770 million people on LinkedIn. So post your job there for free. Everybody in the world.
Literally everybody in the world.
And then some. We got dead people on, Totally.
Once you have a LinkedIn profile,
work too.
Or online.
That doesn't go away.
Yeah.
That does not go away. We are waiting. We want to see if we can catch Bobby Manning coming in off of his post game. He is, as we said, out in New York. Other leftovers for this game.
Bobby's on cloud 9. Right? Bobby's probably the only guy waiting for Evan Fournier from the Celtics that covered the Celtics tonight.
Talking to Fournier one-on-one.
Hey, here's actually a kind of a funny, like the Knicks are still the Knicks. I guess during the game,
they should have never traded you, right?
I guess during the game, Julius Randle hit a big shot, and then jogging back, did the thumbs down to the crowd, I guess. And somebody asked him after the game, "What does the thumbs down mean?" And he said, "Shut the F up." So he's basically telling the crowd, telling Knicks fans who have stuck by these guys,
It's weird.
to shut the F up.
He did it like a week ago because they were quick to boo, and then it was like two plays later they start cheering. He's like, no, screw that. I don't want your cheers. Again.
So even when the Knicks have a good night, they can't even really have now it's going to be all about Julius Randle telling everyone to shut the F up. So that's kind of funny. If you're a Celtics fan, you can take a little bit of comfort in knowing that not everything went right for the Knicks tonight.
Misery does the only thing that mattered did go right.
If you're going to the game, you know what to do to Julius Randle when you see him.
Well, that's the thing is now like, what does Julius Randle think is going to happen when you do that? Does he think Knicks fans are going to cheer him now? Or does he think Knicks fans are going to do way worse than the thumbs down? Probably going to give him.
Yeah. They're going to give him
a middle
a
finger.
different
You can
digit.
blur that out. Actually,
at least that's how Boston rolls, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Middle fingers across the crowd. Yeah.
What Sherrod said. Yeah, he'll get a different digit for sure. You don't want to lose a
between
finger.
the lines, Julie. They're going to be like, read between the lines.
Exactly. Read between the lines. So that's Julius Randle.
They say New Yorkers are worse. No.
Evan Fournier. Can we talk about him for a second?
Sure.
Maybe not.
Here's a guy. We should talk about him before Bobby comes on, so that way we can tell Bobby that we already talked about him and he's not allowed to talk about him. I'll say this about Evan Fournier. He must be.
Can we make predictions? I want to predict that he's going to go with the whole, Celtics could use a guy like this right now.
That's exactly.
Well, look, it all comes back to the Fournier versus Smart argument. That was the money you had. You had a choice. Do you want an Evan Fournier type or a Marcus Smart type?
Yeah, but this isn't Evan Fournier. This is Fournier I hate the Celtics, okay? This isn't
exactly
Fournier on the reg.
So if you're a Knicks fan, Evan Fournier
who could he be for you?
Definitely making you crazy. Because I'm pretty sure Evan Fournier put up a goose egg 2 nights ago. The last game they played.
He's been miserable.
0 points in like 27 minutes.
Fourth quarters, he's been miserable over there. Yeah.
Now, Celtics fans have only seen him, a few times since he left, and he looks like Michael Jordan out there. But that's not the real Evan Fournier. So I'm still okay with letting that guy go. He was extremely streaky with the Celtics when he was on the court. He had horrible nights, 0 for nights, and he's doing it now on the Knicks. And then, he gets hot, and he has a freaking career high tonight, of course. 10 3-pointers. But this is fool's gold as far as I'm concerned. Fournier
36 points in his last 4 games.
Fournier.
Total.
46
points in his 36
before
in his last 4 games.
Gotcha. Wow. And there you go. How can you rely on a guy like that? I mean, he's hurting you way more than he's helping you. If that's the streakiness you're getting. So tonight was one of those nights. I guess every time the Celtics play him, he's gonna, turn into Michael Jordan, and he circles it on his calendar. I don't know what it is about the Celtics. It's not like I don't think they wronged him in any way. I don't think he is like spiteful of the Celtics. I just think that for whatever reason he gets hot against the Celtics for the last few games. It is what it is. But I don't have any regrets. Yeah, I don't have any regrets. I want to reiterate, I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets that the Celtics didn't re-sign this guy. I think that would have been a bad signing, and I don't even think even though we did tonight, I think the Knicks would probably rather not have him.
Yep.
So
for the money that they're paying, absolutely.
That's what it would have cost, I guess.
Yeah, they're kicking themselves for not making a
because what are the Knicks?
DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah,
that's the guy that really.
Right? Can you imagine that?
A lot of teams are kicking themselves for screwing that one up.
The season Randall's having too. Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan is like the dark horse MVP right now.
He's got that 5 spot. He's got that 5 spot. That 5th candidate for league MVP is always a guy that's playing for one of the best teams who would never be an MVP any other year.
Right, and
that's him.
Definitely, he's a shoe-in for the All-Star team. Obviously, I mean, he's got the Bulls playing lights out right now, and that was the guy. You're right, and you know what? You know what else? DeRozan probably is that presence that Ime's talking about. The guy that can take the reins and like I said, can guide the team to victory, can calm the team down when it needs to be calmed down, can get them fired up when they need to be fired up. There isn't anybody like that on the Celtics. Okay? Yeah. There just isn't. Al Horford isn't that guy. He's your veteran, but he's not that guy. And then you've got Marcus Smart, who can probably get the team fired up in ways, but he's certainly not going to, be the calming presence that you need in crunch time. They just doesn't exist on this team. And We're seeing it. That's why we're calling this Groundhog Day. That's why they're losing consistently the way they are. And when you have a new coach, and when you have all those things, it's almost like the blind leading the blind out there right now.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
That's why I hate that comment so much from him. It's like, wait a
I don't
minute,
like it, but I'm not even surprised to hear it. Yeah, I mean it does fall on the players at the end of the day, but the players aren't ready for that. The players aren't ready for it to fall on them as
Jimmy,
if you had a Kyle Lowry or
something. Is your mic doing a little rubbing against your shirt here? Yeah, that's what's happening.
Probably.
You're driving me nuts.
Yeah, it's the zipper. Yeah, a little zipper action. There we go.
Zip. Let's go up, not down. We don't want to
unzip my shirt.
Tight, like a wire.
We don't want that.
Do you guys want me to repeat everything I just said? Because I will.
No, we don't, Jimmy.
We missed all of that.
Go all the way back to the first com read and say everything you said.
Yeah. So it's com.com/garden.
But okay, can we talk about that? The probably the best pass I've ever seen from Tatum at this level.
Nutmeg.
Jaylen Brown. They looked at each other.
Oh, when Jaylen went like that after?
Yes. I joked about, what I said before the season started? Can I get a handshake? Can I get a clap? Can I get a, hey, buddy, I like you. Come here, give me a hug. We didn't get that. But this is the closest thing, right? And I love that moment for those guys.
That's the closest.
And we'll never see it again.
Wasn't invited to.
We'll never see it again because they're gonna remember.
Did wonders.
Tatum and Brown, they're actually embracing each other. Like, hey, man.
Yeah, but Josue has a scoreboard at home logging these things over the years. How many times these guys interact, and it's like
number one.
It's like single digit.
That's the first tally, everybody. He can finally use it.
He has this pristine chalk that's square at both edges. It's never been used.
It's never been used. He has to take it out of the package finally.
Perfect circles at the end. It hasn't.
When I go to Getty Images for my articles, still hard to find, man. It's still hard to find pictures.
I have both at the same time.
Jaylen and Jayson happy, and I'm like, nope, it doesn't. There's not there.
You're just using the same. That was like way back in the day, like Ben Cherington. This is going way back. There was like one picture of Ben Cherington before he was GM, and when I was editing this, when I was editing this for NBC, I was using the same every article about it. I was like, damn, I can't keep it. Someone's gonna yell at me soon. I keep using the same picture. What am I supposed to do?
Like most of the pictures of them together, it's like 4 Celtics players. They're not like it's not just them two. Like it's like.
Well, I'm gonna throw this one up here.
Gotta use the media day pics.
This comment from Fuzzy. We keep coming back to it. I'm going to say that when the Celtics got healthy again, the one thing I didn't want to see was an absolute shortening of the bench again to completely exclude them. And it happened right away. And you got back-to-back losses. And I'm not saying that's the reason why. You can't do this. You cannot freeze them out and not play them at all and expect anything from them at all. You're honestly better off cutting them or sending them to Maine. You cannot do this right now. I understand in the playoffs late in the year, if you do not spend any time developing and trying to put them in positions to help you, you're dead. You can't do it. You cannot do it. It's a flawed roster. Whatever skills that these guys bring to the table, you have to find a way to get the most out of them, to harness them, to develop them into something better. If all you're going to do is 3 games from now, call on Romeo for 6 minutes in the second quarter, you're dead. It's just like, it doesn't, you have to commit to it. I can't believe they went
I don't know. Romeo's a bad example. The guy's barely been available for the last 2 years.
I understand.
I mean, 6 minutes is what he would have averaged anyway.
This just portends to what you're saying. To go.
But they don't even have the guys, John. It's a great thought.
I know, but to have such a, it's not we're stuck in the same.
Yeah, but all these guys played over 30 minutes, man. Well over 30 minutes.
We're stuck in the same cycle here. They're not good because they're either not good, which is very possible, or they've never been developed properly to the point that you can actually make an honest assessment on what they can do. You can't keep jerking them around like this. You've got to commit to using them in some capacity, which would mean 4 fewer minutes for this guy, 3 fewer for this, 2 minutes for that, and you've carved out 12 minutes for one guy or 14 minutes. You can't go to 0. You just can't do it. You can't have guys who are just out and then expect anything from them down the road. It doesn't make sense to me. And so are you just saying that these guys are useless at this point? Like,
no, I just think he fell in love with
We're sitting here screaming about the players that they have on the floor. you either try the other options and put them in a positions to do things for you, or literally just get rid of them. There's no point.
I just think it's because of the offense, John. I mean, that first half, they're shooting close to 60%. They're draining three-pointers. I just thought that, maybe he definitely rode that starting five for too long, especially because you start the fourth quarter with those guys. But, I can see his rationale behind it. Now, the only difference is this is the second night of a back-to-back. Obviously, these guys, outside of Al Horford, everyone played at least 35 minutes and up. So, it's not ideal, but I also think that he thought that these guys were going to shut the door on the Knicks in that fourth quarter, which obviously wasn't the case. And he didn't anticipate Fournier to freaking go nuts like that and look like Steph Curry. So, but he should have. He should have anticipated it.
So there's no really good answer, John, because like you said, if they're not good enough to play, then playing them, that's why the Celtics don't want to play them. But when they do play them, they're not good enough to play. So they don't get the experience. And when they don't have the experience, they can't get good enough to play.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I think.
that out.
I think I just broke my brain, but that's kind of what
X equals.
I'm just gonna say it again. If playing the veterans was allowing you to squeak out the wins, okay, and put you in the 5 hole, in the 6 hole, in the East, and it's like, well, the only way we can win games is to play these guys. You're freaking 3 games under 500. You're blowing games left and right. Okay, it's what you're doing now isn't good enough with the best players. So why? Why are we seeing it? Al Horford is cooked, man. Try different styles of lineups, try different things. When you're fully healthy is the time to experiment with different rotations, working in other people and mixing and matching those guys instead of just committing to these 8 guys and then have friggin' the closing lineup that you have here and nobody can make a shot. It doesn't make sense to me. You have to try different combinations to see if you can unlock different things. The other stuff is bad.
You shorten the lineup when you're on a 5-game winning streak or something like that. I get what you're saying. Or, towards the end of the season. We're nowhere near that. And especially with this team and this roster. In the front court, I'm with you. I wouldn't have minded a little Hernan Gomez today, or
oh,
even,
God.
Look, just to eat up minutes. And that's cancer.
Mute him.
But the thing that pisses me off even more about this performance from the Celtics is that, man, you had Randall was scoreless for so long. And, you got that cushion, but you lost it. And then Randall started to wake up. And it was the recipe looked like a Celtics win. And they just blew it in the end. But at the same time, it's
I like it.
Ime was too afraid, man. Ime was too afraid to put in those guys. It's telling. It's how much he really trusts those guys.
So this is backwards. I don't know if you guys read it. It says
it's backwards.
It says they suck.
You got to write it backwards, man. You got to write it back.
And then so they're benched, and then so then they have inexperience, and that's why they suck. But then they get benched. Did you guys see it?
The circle of death.
That was my brain.
There's the
That was
circle
my
of life,
brain
but that's
in
like the circle of basketball death
Circle
you got
of
there, Jimmy.
Basketball.
It's a circle of finding your way out of the league very quickly. It's also what the G League was for, but I guess the G League this year isn't used for that because everybody just gets
all the best players in the G League are getting those hardship call ups.
You walk into the G League, you might be the only guy in the gym that night.
Yeah, you're gonna be in Milwaukee. You're gonna be a Milwaukee Buck tomorrow. Yeah.
Are they even playing games? I don't even know if they can field rosters right now.
Yeah,
it's bad. It's bad.
It's crazy, is what it is.
It's really bad.
It's crazy, is what it is. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what I don't know.
Your brain is definitely broken, Jimmy.
Totally. Is Bobby coming on? I was just checking.
Tatum's doing the 1 hour wait for a post game.
After a L,
After a loss on the road with the rest of his teammates on a bus. Waiting
They
for
got
him.
nowhere to go. They got nowhere to go. I make them wait too. Shit. I just dropped 36.
In an L though, man.
Someone said Bobby's drinking.
Tatum was good. Tatum had the
Drinking
high
that
passing
Kool-Aid.
game. I'll be right back, guys.
Bobby's drinking that Kool-Aid.
What does he have that light on the battery powered or something? That's the first time
Maybe he's got that Brockton electricity going on.
Maybe.
Oh.
Anywho, fellas, Guess who's leading now? Josue Pavon, guys. Here we go. It's the fourth quarter of the Celtics post-game show. But to wrap things up.
Yeah, it's the fourth quarter going down the stretch. It's a close game, and
dare I ask what do we expect for Saturday night? Like, dare I ask that, because who the heck knows? Like, what do you like? How do you even go back? How do you bounce back from a game like this and not think until the very last minute that this team still might lose? Like, we've seen it all. We've seen every single way this team can drop a game.
See, what you just asked. Okay, you go, Sherrod. You go.
No, I was just going to say real quick, Jimmy, that fans should expect the same crap that we've seen for the last couple games. Be in position to put a team away, and then it's going to somehow in desperate need of the basketball Heimlich maneuver, because they will choke the game away if someone doesn't come to the rescue. And Tatum did, damn near all he could to do that tonight, came up short. But if they start believing what the fans believe, that's when they're in trouble, because they need to believe that this is just basketball. This is just part of the season. This is part of our journey. They have to keep that faith. We don't, because we literally have no control over that stuff.
But see, what worries me is, you can say that word, Sherrod. What worries me is that they're gonna get in that space again where the Knicks go off on a huge run, and then all of a sudden they're defeated, they're demoralized, and then you have to go to guys like Romeo and Nesmith or someone off the bench to come and try to save the day. Like, that's what worries me. Like, I feel like this team's morale is like one 20-point deficit away from completely being like, all right, we lost this game, guys. Like, and they're at such a better spot than they were a month ago. It's just to keep losing these games like in ridiculously different ways.
You guys kind of took you guys. I agree with you guys. You kind of said what I was going to say. It was like, for us, who the hell knows what we can expect? What I'm worried about is that the Celtics are going to expect what fans are going to expect, which is a collapse. Yeah. The one thing you don't want to have, and Sherrod, you've probably been around a lot of these teams, is a team that grows like accustomed to losing, or like it's almost like ingrained in their DNA, right? And like it's been the opposite with Celtics teams in the past. Like you've had like pretty, like prior to the Kyrie and Isaiah years, you kind of had some bad teams that they didn't think that they were bad. They actually thought they were better than they were, and they played some pretty entertaining seasons, relatively speaking, and made it enjoyable to watch, even though you didn't have high expectations. This team, it almost feels like the opposite, where it's like they almost feel, and I'm not trying to speak, it almost feels like they expect to lose, or they're waiting to blow the game. And like when you start to feel that way, then you start to lose 25-point leads, and you lose down late in the game because you're beating yourself. It's like a self-fulfilled prophecy almost, if that's how you're approaching these games. And that's why, like, when Ime says like, oh, we're mentally weak, it's like, dude, that's where you're supposed to come in, man. Like,
that's the last thing you want to
coaching
hear.
Isn't just 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay? It's way more than that. And like, I'm sure he knows that, but it's like, when you say that about your own team, like, what are you doing to prevent that from being the case? That stuff needs to be taught outside of the game to get you ready for the game. You don't teach mental toughness during the game. I mean, that's already in you before the game starts. So what are you doing in between games to get your guys ready, to get them prepared? Preparation is a big part of success.
I'm just reading an Ime quote here, talk about what we were talking about with Smart and Schroeder on the court.
What else did he say, John? Damn it.
He was just asked outright. This is a little bit of a word salad. There's a little word salad answer, so you tell me if this makes sense. It's a lot of basketball words, so the question was just outright: why'd you have Smart and Schroeder out there? While with Tatum as the primary ball handler.
Sounds like a Corrales question. But go ahead.
Yeah, it is, which is what I was screaming about earlier. It's like Tatum's handling the ball, so you don't have you have your best shooter with the ball trying to set up non-shooters. It's counterintuitive. I think half the world realized it, but Ime didn't. So, we're watching this late. That's why I started the show screaming about this. So he's asked about it, and he goes, yeah, the set we were really running tonight, we have several different options out of where Jayson handles, and we slip out and play on the second side. If we don't have anything with the guy in the corner, which was JB or Dennis, we go back to get JT into another step up. So Marcus hit some big shots there, but it's really the play design to not just go isolation with Jayson, have several options out of it, and cause some confusion. You definitely confused. They looked confused.
Mission accomplished.
You did it, which we did, which we
Oh,
did,
that
and
play.
no,
Oh,
this
shit.
is the Ime's best version of himself is this next quote, okay? Which we did, and we got some what? What did we get, guys? We got some good shots out of it.
I thought you were gonna say best version of themselves.
No, that's Ime's best version of himself. Is we got some good looks out there. I think it worked well, that specific play. So it's a different thing going away from isolation as much as letting other guys be playmakers on the second side of the ball. We've got to it a few times, and then Marcus hit a few and missed a few at the end. But across the board, I think we haven't had the best shooting year. So regardless of who we have handling out there, it's not always going to be the best shooters on the floor, especially when we have some defensive lineups as well. So basically,
my stakeholders, we're having a bad quarter, stakeholders. This is not going to be a profitable quarter for us. I'm so sorry. So sorry.
So it's basically like we did it and it was bad, but it could have been good. Yeah. But that's what happens because we're bad. You know, like
it's like the first week of the regular season when he was like, look, we shot really poorly, but I'm sure we're never gonna shoot this way for the rest of the season. I'm like, have you seen your roster, Ime? Like, are you sure about that? Like,
check out the averages.
It's one of the better showings from outside, at least for the first 3 quarters.
That was a bad one. Yeah. But I mean, what he's saying is,
there's been a lot of interesting quotes.
What he's saying is, Tatum's the best player. I don't have a true point guard. I want him to have the ball in his hands. He is making the right plays for us. He is doing some of the things I'm asking him to. But unfortunately, when we do swing the ball and get into an open guy, it happens to be a guy who sucks at shooting. But I have that guy on the court because he's good at defense also. And I don't really have any good shooters. Good night. You know, like that's the thing.
Coming out.
Thank you. Good night. And he's kind of right and kind of wrong, which is like
Paul Pierce. It's like the Paul Pierce quote. What do you want me to pass it to? Yuri Welsh? Like,
don't run an offense. But the
Yuri
point
Welsh.
is, if you know you have a lineup out there that's going to give you stops, and that's one of the reasons those guys are on the floor, then don't run an offense where Tatum is bringing up the ball and the primary handler, and you have non-shooters everywhere on the floor. When you've got Smart and Rob and Schroeder, and Tatum's handling the ball, where are you going with it? It doesn't make sense. So don't run that lineup if that's the case. Or don't have that lineup out there with Tatum as the primary ball handler. It seems obvious, right?
Well, they become a lot easier to defend because if you do a good job on Tatum, he's going to give it up because he's in that mindset now. Yeah. And if he gives it up, you're okay with that. You are very okay with that. And Tatum, we talked about his scoring, but dude had 9 dimes and only 2 turnovers.
Which is fine.
He had a great game. But
right out the gate.
At that point in the game in the fourth, you really need to find as many ways as you can to get him the ball where he's looking to attack, not facilitate. He needs to be in attack mode in the fourth quarter. And it's hard to do that when you're in a position to be a facilitator.
It seemed like he was trying to set up Tatum, but he's like, no, we didn't. That's not what we're trying to do. It's like, well, that seems like the approach when you don't have guys that you can constantly rely on to knock down threes.
Well, if I have Jayson in facilitating mode, I need to get the ball to Jaylen. I mean, if we're going to play that game,
that's what I mean. The first look has to be to Brown,
right? He needs to be option A.
Oh, everything is wrong with it. He's the primary ball handler, and his first look, it's exactly that. The first thing you should be looking to is get the ball into Jayson's hands and then to move somewhere and go.
And the way the Knicks were playing Tatum was just perfect because they would simply blitz JT. He would swing it to Smart, and they would be slow as hell rotating back because they want him to shoot.
Yep.
And if he makes a couple, they'll live with that because they know he's going to keep shooting. And they know the law of averages tells you the more he shoots, the more he's going to start missing.
He'll start going down,
Yeah, so I mean, you're playing into the hands of Tom Thibodeau when you have Jayson as your primary facilitator, and up top with JT is Smart and not Brown.
So it doesn't make sense.
We need
Tatum's already. I think Tatum's done talking, or he's at the podium.
Bobby's running in here. If anybody's past their bedtime and wants to bail, that's fine. I'm going to hang out and let Bobby come in and say his piece here as well. So anybody on the show wants to peace out, that's totally fine.
Oh, no.
What you gonna do, a Bobby exclusive right now? What's going on?
Yeah, what you got?
Like I said,
One-on-one?
I'll filibuster until Bobby gets here. I don't mind. We gotta still.
He's not on deck yet. I thought he was waiting to come in. Oh, jeez.
No, he's
sprinting through the halls of Madison Square Garden right now.
Yeah,
I'm just picturing like a massive backpack, like just like bombing down the halls, like.
And if you guys think
Trying to get to like the.
So, but let me get back.
MSG Wi-Fi.
Let me get back to not to keep beating on that, but this is also should go without saying, correct? The only reason to have Tatum as your primary ball handler is because why? Because you don't have a true point guard. So why do we have to keep going through this charade, debating with people on Twitter about whether or not Marcus Smart is the right point guard for this team? If he was, there's no question if you have the point guard who gets the ball to the people in the places they need them, then why? Then Jayson Tatum would not be bringing the ball up in the fourth quarter, right?
Right.
That stands to reason. It's pretty clear. So again, why when we make these points, I don't know why it's argued. Let's bring in our man, the real Bob Manning.
Oh, we made it. I'm glad the show's still rolling here.
Bobby, I was waiting for you. No, the fans were waiting for you. I can't tell you how many people here refused to log off until Bobby Manning joined the show.
Bobby's like, y'all still talking?
It is booming in this room. I'm loving it. This is it. This is like our Oklahoma City last year. This is like the rock bottom where we all just come to grips with what's going on here. I see most people are looking at the coach, and it's fair. I think it's fair
tonight. That's where we started. Yep.
I think it's valid to criticize him for the game plans, the play calls, the results on the floor that aren't changing. I mean, these are coaching things here. But when it comes to the post-game comments, give me a break. Are you kidding me?
Yo, tell him, Bobby. Tell him.
I am just in awe that this audience, and I'm grouping everybody together generally. I'm going to do that. They wanted Brad throwing chairs, screaming, calling guys out, ripping guys off the floor, and you have the probably most semblance of that among coaches today, and you're mad that he's calling out the team?
Well, are fans mad that they calling out the team?
Good night, Bobby Manning, everybody.
Wow, hey,
thanks for coming out.
He got his point out. He's got his point out.
Now get him back in. Get him back in. I told you, man. Wi-Fi is rough over there. But go ahead.
Did that come through loud and clear?
You literally
came out perfect.
You finished and figuratively dropped your mic, and it was perfect.
I'm gonna.
Keep going. I know you're not done.
No, I'm in awe that the coach is the first thing that comes up here. I mean,
Bobby, that wasn't it for us. For us, it was the playing. The reason we got on him was the playing Schroeder and Smart together with Tatum as a primary ball handler. Consistently playing lineups that either have double bigs or double point guards who can't shoot. And especially late when Tatum is the primary ball handler and he's swinging the ball to Schroeder and to Smart. Smart takes 6 threes in the third quarter. That's not the offense you want. So that's what we were putting on Ime.
Well, here's the question.
And Jaylen not getting the ball in the entire fourth quarter. But yeah,
he got away from the ball for, I thought, the last 3 quarters there. Once Tatum started taking over. Yeah, that's definitely an issue that we continue to see here. The connectivity between those two. I think it's disappeared again the last week or two here. You're not seeing the activeness between them. We didn't see the revelation from last game that we should play through the bigs, right? There was none of that.
Tatum
did a good job.
It's insane.
Tatum did a good job. I felt like he got the ball moving, got off the ball. There were some sets early in the fourth where you saw hope. Him going to the right corner to Horford, bouncing, reposition himself in the right corner to his right and getting a 3 by, just playing off Horford there, a low 2-man game. I think he got a huge 3 for Smart playing a low 2-man game with him there too. And what does he finish with? 9 assists? So Tatum did his job.
Tatum was great.
It's just, with all these good games, Tatum doing what he needs to do here. Jaylen's awesome start. Schroeder playing good for large stretches of this until the fourth there. And really just becoming largely uninvolved was the problem with him. And then, Rob having a huge – how many blocks did he finish with? He was pushing a triple-double with blocks. So just all these different efforts. You look at this game, it's like they're winning this. They're winning this.
That's what I thought.
All these individual efforts coming together. and it just doesn't connect again. This team just isn't going to work. I don't care about the coaching. I don't care. You can nitpick it all you want. This roster isn't going to work. The shooting's not there. The playmaking's not there consistently from everybody across the board. I think you have to make a move. I don't know if it's sell or if it's you try to add to this, but you have to make a move now. You have to choose a direction by the deadline. And if it's selling, I'm for it. Selectively sell here, break this down, and go into the lottery because this team isn't going anywhere.
Whoa. I don't know
Wow.
Hold on, Bobby. Let me get this question.
That's
Whoa.
it. Time of death. Game
Wow.
39 of the season. You lost Bobby Manning, guys. Congratulations.
Hold on.
You
Let me
lost
segue
a
with
real
you.
one. You really did
Listen,
it now,
Bobby.
Celtics. You really did it.
Let me ask
now.
you something, Bobby, and then everyone else can answer the same question. Off of the comments from Brad Stevens on 98.5 The Sports Hub, are you shocked that Ime went out there and played? He played 9 guys as if it was a playoff series or
Josue,
something?
illuminate us. What were the comments?
So Brad Stevens talked about pretty much saying, look, trading is still obviously an option, but before we do that, let's try to mix things up. Let's try to do a different combinations. And then Ime goes out and does the exact opposite 10 hours later.
That's what I was saying. Okay. Yeah.
Bobby, how telling is that? Like, do you think it's two sides here? Do you think, at the end of the day, is Ime sort of knows that Brad's trying to put together a deal, or is just Ime just doing things his way? Like, how do you see it?
I think Ime knows what he has. I just deep
He's
down
giving up
think
on his bench. He's saying like, this ain't it. Like,
I don't think the guys are there. You see Romeo against the Spurs. They give him upwards of 20 minutes there, and he does nothing. Richardson's a guy I look at and say you could mix him in there, secondary playmaker. Maybe he's better in that spot than Schroeder, but then you're benching Schroeder in that spot.
But what about different combos? That's the point. That's what I think we're getting at
which
here.
is exactly what Brad talked about. And
Which
then
is
he goes
what
out and does this.
Why I mentioned maybe starting Grant and not the double big, but he can't do it. When the 5 guys are healthy, he has to start them. And he has to close with the 2-guard lineup. He can't get away from it. He does it win or lose. Imagine if you went to the kitchen every night to make dinner and you made the same meal every night, and 50% of the time you threw up. Would you keep making that dinner every night? It doesn't make sense to me. You have
if you're a bad cook, and that's all you know, yeah, you might.
But half the time it's not worth it, Jimmy. It's
mac and cheese again, folks.
So Bobby, that's what I mean. Is before you break it down, you gotta try. You keep trying the same thing 40 games in and it doesn't work. You got to try something different, right? When you have everybody healthy, you now have to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, you do. Ultimately, though, you're looking at those lineups, double big, the way it's looked since December, you're talking minus 22 there,
Someone
I think.
said best analogy of the year.
Grant and Rob, though, at the same time.
It's pretty good, to be honest.
Still a losing combination for them. I mean, I think no matter what you're looking at here in these fourth quarters, it comes down to your best players and them being able to figure out in those spots. And time in, time out, they don't. You don't think Ime's calling plays in these spots? I just don't believe that he is just saying, guys, go figure it out. I'm not giving you any help here, and I'm just going to call you out in the post-game press conference unfairly. They're breaking down. They're spiraling. How many times have we said this? He's saying what we say, and we don't like it? And listen, who's going to solve things off this bench? Richardson? He could help. Grant could help, but these guys aren't solving their deep core issues here. The playmaking, they don't have a go-to guy in that spot, a guy to calm things down. I thought Ime said that perfectly. How many times have I said that this year? And Ime just repeated the exact same thing. We don't have a guy to slow things down, make the game easier, and stop the spiraling.
Yeah, we said that last night, right, Bob?
Yes, they call timeouts. They do all these different things. They call in the starters early in the fourth. I thought they put 5 of your best players out there, especially defensively when the Knicks were running you off the floor, and they just couldn't get it done. And I don't think – I just don't know. You got to shake up the mix at this point. I don't think there's any adjustments you can make. I don't think there's anything Ime can say. I don't think Ime taking a softer stance and going easier on them is the answer either here. He kind of just sounds exasperated to me. I think he's used all his bullets with this team to some degree in terms of stuff he says, stuff he emphasizes, and even pregame tonight, he basically said, I know you saw the quote, John, it's Groundhog Day. I'm saying the same stuff to these guys every day, and I keep reminding them.
But then he goes out and he does the same stuff.
Well,
Yeah,
Exactly, and that's my issue.
That's
It's
where the
one thing for
criticism
player-
comes in. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Bad example.
I mean, you're basically pissed at them for doing the same thing while you are doing the same thing too.
You're not empowering anybody else in that line.
You have to be. He has to be the change that he wants to see. He has to make change.
Oh,
If he
great.
doesn't shake things up, why the hell do you expect your players to do anything different if you're not doing anything different?
That's true. Be
It's
the change you want to
insanity.
see
Right.
in the world. That's right.
It's
Bobby,
fair-
last question for
Exactly.
me. Evan Fournier, career night.
Depression.
Damn it.
Com.com/garden.
You just
Buyer's
Josue,
remorse.
you had to do that.
you
What do
did.
you think, Bobby?
Damn it,
What's your take on the
Josue.
Fournier thing? Do you look at him today and be like, man, what
He's
could have
trolling.
been if that guy was still in Boston?
We're
trolling.
bringing back the Fournier for the Fournier TPE trade rumor.
No, that's not possible. But
We just wanted to
If
hear
you
you
could go
say
back
it.
in time, if Doc Brown came with the DeLorean and was like, Bobby, get in, we're gonna save this team. What are you doing? You bringing Evan back or what?
I said all along they needed to bring him back.
Knew it.
The cost was
I
high.
kind of feel that you didn't, but that's okay.
This is a
That's
guy
okay.
who twice in a Celtics uniform shot 7 of 11 from 3 for you.
Sherrod.
He's a 40%
Twice!
3-point shooter.
Dude,
Against
two
the
times.
Celtics,
Two
man.
whole times.
Here
Against
comes
the
little
Celtics.
sample size Bobby again. He's when it comes to arguments, you have
That
the
man's making
worst.
$20 million.
You don't comprehend sample size, Bobby. I don't know if you comprehend sample size when you say that.
I'm
with a
just
straight
saying,
face.
we're all going to sit here right now and say, we need shooting. What moves are we going to make to get shooting? And you had the guy. He's inconsistent.
You had him twice.
The price tag was high. But what else you gonna do? You pay for shooting in this league. It doesn't just magically appear and come for the low unless you
I
get
kind of
lucky.
feel you didn't want to pay
Premium.
him what he got paid, Bobby, but that's okay.
You didn't, and you were right to not want to, Bobby. Two games ago, he was a goose egg. He didn't score a single point in 20 plus minutes, whatever it was. Sherrod just told me that prior to tonight, he had 36 points in the last 4 games combined. He's hurting the Knicks. You know that they've been benching him in games. DNPs on the fourth quarter, him and Kemba. So you can't sit there just because he had a career night. And I freaking joked about it before the game, and it basically came true that he was going to go off
Would
for
it-
50,
would it
and then we're
played
going to
out
hear you
the
talk
same-
about Fournier for 45 minutes. But at the end of the day, you can't say that he's helping the Knicks more than he's hurting the Knicks.
And he
Well,
had a couple
it's
of
a
really
different
good games
situation.
in Boston. He had a couple of really good games in Boston. Yeah, that's true. But
He
he
did.
also had a couple of games where he did not make
Over.
a single damn shot and did not score a single point.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not saying he's.
I'm sorry, but if you are a shooter,
Especially in that playoff
there's no
series.
way in hell you should go an entire game without making a single shot.
The only
Should never
reason I
happen.
pause and John sensed it is because of the cap situation you're in, and I understand the tax implications
Right.
there. 20 million is a massive price
And-
beyond 20 million.
Yeah.
Nothing matters more to us and to fans than Wick not paying taxes.
in Wick's
Well,
tax.
that's where I look at it and I say I don't really care.
Yeah. Everyone's getting there. Everyone's getting their taxes in the next couple of weeks here, and Wick's gonna have to get.
That's
his
what
too.
I'm in
That's
this
right.
game for. That's what I got into this business
Yeah.
for.
That's
No, but
right.
let's be-
Tax season.
Let's be fair. You came away with a TPE that is probably too
Oh,
late
God.
to take advantage of now. Like, how are you going to swing a move here with a TP that really moves the needle at this point when you could have started from day one in training camp with your shooter at the wing, your 3 wings on the perimeter, and 2 bigs? Now, it's a very expensive team when you look at Fournier, Horford.
that team.
Even if you bring in Richardson, like, are you paying that much for a team that still isn't a contender?
That still doesn't have a distributor.
That's where I get passing on it. But man, you looked at it and said, we have this shooter and we're just going to let him go. And now you have no shooting. So it's hard for me to look at it and say, great that they
And
lost
you
him.
went out and traded for not shooting, and then you went out and signed not shooting. So,
Right.
that's the thing is like, fine.
Remember, this was a top 10 offensive team last year.
Josh Richardson is a professional basketball player. He's a good basketball player. He's not great, but he was basically there for anyone who wanted to take his contract. And there's a reason behind it, because in today's NBA, it's not the type of player that's going to help move the needle for you. On a team desperate for shooting, for your 2 big offseason acquisitions to come in, three players you came in who are core rotational guys to be Schroeder, Richardson, and Horford, and then to watch one of the few shooters you had walk out the door. What did you think was going to happen? Again, this is why Jimmy and I in our preseason predictions predicted worse than last year. You lost. Yes, Kemba and Fournier are flawed players, but you lost what little shooting you had. And why were they a top 10 offense? Because they had a little bit more shooting and they had guys who could fill it up when they were healthy, and they got ravaged by injuries and
That
COVID.
was the problem.
They've got nothing. They've nothing. I say the words. They need more shooters on the floor. And as soon as I'm done saying it, I'm like, who? I get it.
Right.
Who?
Yeah.
It's an
And that's probably
impossible
what
situation.
Ime's looking around
With the
saying
Knicks.
same thing.
With the Knicks, Thibodeau's freaking out because he's not getting the defense he wants out of those guys, and he's benching them because he's choosing defense. But he knows if he wants offense, you have Kemba and Fournier, which provide some offense, that they have roles. They can do that. Like the Celtics
and you look at
don't have it.
You look at the tone setters on the Knicks, Randall and Barrett, were just horrific, I thought, in this game. Randall got a little aggressive in the third and picked it up, but he was empty in the first half. That's what Fournier is playing off there. In Boston, it's Tatum and Brown and the pressure they're taking and wide open shots, essentially, for him. So it's a different situation. It wasn't just going to play out the exact same way that it is here in New York if he comes back to Boston. So I don't think you can look at that and say it's the same thing. At the same time, I do think you're looking ahead now, and the moves you're going to have to make now would have still been necessary even if you kept Fournier. Like, Fournier wasn't saving the season, right? The issues that they're going through right now still would have been present.
It's a matter of needs. What needs do you have? And then the value over replacement. Like where are you going to go to for those needs, and how much worse are they than what you let walk out the door? So yes, Fournier is not the answer, but when you go from Fournier to Romeo, and ask for offense, you've got problems there. Like you're giving up a ton. And as good as Romeo is on defense, he's a 0 on offense right now. So you're not going to give him the minutes. Richardson's been nice in spots, but you've got big drops there in terms of what you're expecting those players to do.
And can we all agree? He's a really good player. He's an NBA starter, Fournier. He's a really good shooter.
Well, he's having a rough year, though.
No, for me, dog.
He can do all these things.
He's always been a good player. That's it.
Thanks,
He's
Jimmy.
been a good
Thank
player.
you.
That's my analysis.
Not the best color.
He's just been a good, like John says, he's fine. Like, he's just one of those guys. He's not going to be an all-star. He might help your team out, but he also might hurt your team. Bobby, you can say that, he went 7 of 11 twice last year. Well, he also went 0 for a couple of times. Like, he's somewhere in between those two things, and you just don't know what you're going to get on any given night. So he's hard to rely on. He doesn't. Yeah, he shoots. He can shoot. Yes, but don't forget the Celtics probably thought that they could get some shooting from Nesmith, from Schroeder, from Pritchard. Guys that they're not getting shooting from and like from the deeper side of the bench. Horford, so they're not getting any of that at all.
They're
Horford's
not getting anything.
Giving it to you right now. So
that's the problem. It's not that they're getting less shooting; they're getting no shooting
right
now.
When you lost last night, you lost because you didn't have any help at all from anybody on the bench. Yeah. We talked about it last night. Same thing tonight. You didn't get really any help at all from the bench. Nothing from Grant offensively. Obviously Romeo, Nesmith, Pritchard, those guys aren't helping you at all right now. So you're just not getting anything extra.
Sherrod, fix it. What's the first thing you do?
What do they do? Yes, that's a huge question tonight.
Well, the very first thing I do is shake up the damn starting lineup.
Yes.
That's the first thing I would do.
How easy is that?
That's first and foremost that it's easy. Number two,
it actually everyone except for Jaylen too.
It has the appearance that you're actually trying to win and shake things up in a way that gives you a better chance of winning. And when you look at your starting five, you got to ask yourself, who's the one guy in our starting five who's probably struggling the most that maybe we could scale back a little bit his role? And I think it's obvious. It's Al Horford.
Our pal Al. Yep.
And I love Al. Mm-hmm. Love Al. But Al's not getting it done right now. I think you need to have him take a step back, give Josh Richardson or give Grant Williams a chance to be in that starting lineup and see what that looks like. See if you can get maybe a little bit more out of Al coming off the bench versus starting. See if Grant Williams can rekindle what we saw, that 50, 40, 90 guy we saw the first month or so of the season. If he can do that in a much more limited capacity with that starting five. And maybe, Jayson Tatum can continue to play well with Jaylen and figure out a way where those two can be more on the page for longer stretches than just, one really great pass where Jaylen's doing this afterwards. We need more than that. We need more. So that would be my first thing, and then go from there. I mean, and to me, you do that sooner than later, so that you can get a look at that before the trade deadline,
Right?
And that will determine whether you need to make a move or not.
That's what I would say is, I think the easy thing to do is what's happening right now is you get your players back. Everyone's off COVID. Everyone's done with their injuries. And you're like, oh, great. Oh, goody. I get to play the rotations that I intended. And I think the exact opposite should happen. You should say, oh, good. Now I've got options. I can mix things up. And that's what you should be doing right out of the gate. Right. Different starting lineup, different rotations, different combinations. See what works with what. See which players. Like, did you know, like Smart and Rob would have chemistry until you started playing Smart and Rob together? No. Like, did you know they'd be two of the among the top 2% net rating duos in the league until you started giving them minutes together? You didn't. You had to see it. You got to see Tatum and Rob last year. That was another huge one, right, Bobby? Like, you didn't know what Rob was doing to unlock Tatum, for whatever reasons, but the numbers were there. You might be able to to unlock different things. Like Williams is a great example because he helps you in so many different ways. You can't always see it. So you got to try to mix it up, but it's the double point guard, terrible shooting lineups are freaking killers, and they're causing them to go cold for so long that they can't recover from it. It's just killing them. And
that's why I was so surprised to see the substitutions from Ime, because of, again, what Brad Stevens said. You assume that that's a conversation he had with Ime, or something that they're on the same page about. Like, hey, listen, before or as I start to call different teams and see what's going on, how about we mix things up? Let's find out what we have, what worked that we haven't even tried yet. And that's not what we saw. We saw a 9-man rotation with guys with all familiar faces. So I was really surprised by that. And I'm wondering if that means that, the writing's on the wall and, there's a trade out there. Well, how big of a trade? What are we talking here? Because I'd be shocked if Brad doesn't do anything between now and the trade deadline.
I don't think they've got the guts to break this up in a meaningful way. Really, shake up means trading Jaylen Brown, and nobody's got the guts to do that right now.
Doing nothing's a decision too, though. And if you let this continue on, you waste more time, and things continue to get worse.
It continues to be a decision, but most people do that. They get paralyzed because the right thing doesn't come along, and then decisions get made for them.
Yeah, but they usually do that when they're a top 5 team, though, John.
Now it's just
different.
It was similar last year.
I believe this franchise, this organization, has the mentality of the team they thought they were a few years ago, because of the belief and the currency that they have in the 2 J's and a young core, that's all you need. These 2 stars at the most valuable position, who wouldn't want to be us? The reality is everything else is bad around it right now. So you're in a tough spot.
It is a bit of a chaotic situation, though, almost like a panic situation right now, the way they're spiraling. Like, it never got this bad last year. There were some low points last year, but to have this streak of games right here where you blow games in this fashion, the total of games that they've capsized in this regard, I think I saw a crazy stat on ESPN, like something like six times or something they've collapsed down 15 this year. It's getting pretty, I don't want to say desperate, but it does get to a point where you have to make a decision here in the weeks to come. There's still a fairly manageable schedule ahead, but that's what we said coming into this week, and you're almost 0 for 3 if you didn't save yourself against the Magic there. And think of what we'd be saying if you had that loss under your belt too here. I don't know. They feel broken to me, and I don't think it's something that rotation changes, adjustments, that sort of thing can fix. I think it's going to take a huge statement mid-season here to really wake them up, and I don't know exactly what it is, but something's going to have to happen. I mean, I think Brad has to look at this and say, I got to do something here. I don't think this is something Ime can fix right now. I truly believe it's what Ime is saying. It's like a fortitude, decision-making, leadership issue right now on this team. None of those 3 things are present here, and it's been so obvious if you've been watching this team for so long right now. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, like I said, if you've broken Bobby, guys, you've really done it.
Yeah, that's
I don't
when
see
you know
any-
games in.
What have they accomplished? 39 games, Jimmy. Zero.
Bobby,
If you're
who are
preaching
you
to the choir,
talking
bud.
to?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
welcome to the
you
resistance,
just
my
woke
man.
up,
Like,
not
this
We
me.
created this, Bobby.
we
live
just
here.
we just
You're
pulled
just
the
visiting.
plug. We just pulled the plug out of Neo's head, and he's seeing the real world for the first time. Like, you know,
Right, exactly.
like, yes,
Bobby.
welcome to the land of the real, Bobby.
Yeah.
Like,
Bobby,
this is what's
have a seat.
happening.
We
Come
were
join.
born in the darkness, Bobby. You just adapted to it.
I was molded by it.
Yeah, I'm about to plug the mic in
Welcome.
right now. Let me get the voice right now.
I was born in it, molded
Yeah.
by it.
You simply
Remember when my mic was
adapted
making
to
that?
it.
It sounded like I sounded like him.
That is too funny.
Seriously,
Oh
this
my
is gonna
God.
be it, man.
Yeah.
Where
I
are
don't
you?
know,
Jo-
man. People in the comment
I
section saying this isn't the best therapy session, but I think we're helping. Man.
We're,
Why,
know
oh,
we're
why
close.
didn't I take the blue pill?
I said
know
it
we're
yesterday.
I know we're coming up against it here. I do want to hear John, Jimmy, and Josue, your solutions. What are you doing this week, this month? Like, what's the next
I've
step?
been saying it. It's a mix. I'm with Sherrod. I've been saying it forever. Try different combos. Mix it up. Stop banging your head. It's that I hate using this. Such a tired, cliche, and people use it all the time, thinking they're the first person to ever say this. But the definition of insanity, just doing things
You
over and
always
over
say
again.
it, yeah.
And again, it's a way overused, thing. But it's making me insane watching someone do the same thing over and over again. I'm going crazy. I'm going back to last year with this, Bobby. Try something different. Try it. What are you
Double big.
afraid of? Get
Yeah.
the double big thing. Oh my goodness.
And this is the stretch to do it.
We're
And this is
35
almost-
games into last year arguing whether Tristan Thompson should be playing 30 minutes and Rob 15. Like,
And now
what
that the
is
numbers-
going on?
And now that the numbers are bad, it's like Brad. He was fighting against numbers all last year. At least Ime had some good numbers to go off early. What are you doing, Jimmy?
Well, I think John asked a couple of shows ago. I think Sherrod said he would flip the starting lineup and play Grant. I picked Richardson. So again, is that going to turn this
I
team
do
into
like Richardson.
a number one seed? Probably not, but it's a start, and then you can kind of work with that and see play combinations from there. It's a minor tweak. I mean, again, like you guys have all said, and the only way to really shake things up is to trade Jaylen Brown, and he's not the. I wouldn't say Jaylen Brown's the problem. Certainly,
That's not happening
And-
mid-season.
No, exactly. It's not gonna happen
no
mid-season. So is this just a lost season? I mean, it's honestly starting to look that way because this is your team. You might make a couple minor tweaks unless you bring in a legitimate point guard, a guy that can distribute the ball. And really, if you really think you can make a run for something this season, that's the piece that you're missing, in my opinion, is a guy that can really get the Jays, in position where they need to be. A guy like Ime said that can kind of a calming presence, can direct traffic out there, can be
I
the
saw
guy
this
that they
name
don't have.
earlier. I saw this name earlier. In fact, I just saw it again in the chat. Sherrod. I don't know if you know like where he's at right now. Is Goran Dragic? He's on an expiring
I saw
deal.
that earlier today too.
I didn't even think of him because he just stopped playing for the Raptors and he went down to Miami and started working out.
Well, at one point he was having some family issues that he was dealing with, and so there's a lot of questions about just whether he's still committed to playing in the NBA.
Yeah.
But that's somebody that if it wouldn't be a bad idea to kick the tires around and see if he'd be interested.
He
in coming
killed
in.
you in that 2020 East Finals. He was. So
I just don't know
good.
how much he's got left in the tank.
I know.
What's his
I-
contract?
Pass.
That bubble Dragic was a while ago. It doesn't feel like it, but it was.
You're paying for past performance. That's not going to help
Right.
you.
He's
Yeah.
very expensive too. I think he's making like
Yeah.
19 million.
No, thank you. You'll get
We're
a
good.
game every once in a while where you're like, oh, that was okay, but you're not. It's more often than not you're gonna be like, we got to get this guy off the floor. It's just not
Yeah.
gonna. That's not gonna work for you.
He's one of the
Listen,
guys that's
Bobby, I
accessible.
know you're full of beans because you just got here, but the rest of us have been going 90 minutes. So we
No,
are
I
gonna
gotta
have
get out of here. They'll lock the doors on me
They
again.
will
I
lock
guess-
you
I
in with
guess-
the rats, my friend. Yeah.
I guess Dragic is
Those New York
he's in Miami like training. I don't know what
Yeah.
his deal is.
I
Yeah.
don't know
So-
either. It might be somewhere, but you do have to make a trade with the Raptors because he still is on the Raptors. He's not
Yeah,
just
yeah.
going around out there.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks again. It's the Knicks again on Saturday. Bobby Manning in New York will be filing reports. Go check those out at on our CLNS media YouTube channel.
Celtics All Access.
Celtics All Access. A lot of you guys are watching on our main YouTube channel, but at Celtics All Access, where you're going to get a lot of our clips, a lot of our analysis, a lot of our smaller segments, and a lot of other good, unique, original content. So if you haven't subscribed to that one, also please do. There's a lot of good stuff that goes on that channel. Once again, quick shout out to our sponsors. Number one sleep and meditation app. We love it. We need it. We rely on it. Calm.com/garden. Head over there, receive 40% off.
Calm.com/garden.
I can't get through one of these. Jimmy's got to get a piece. He's got to get a piece.
I got to get a piece. I'll let you finish. I do have to say something after, though.
Even back in the segment days, you would do this during reads all the time.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I need that.
I got to say something.
Hold on.
Shout out to Tom
Shucksmith. Shout out to Tom.
Yeah,
Shucksmith.
you got
LinkedIn.com/garden. Post your first job for free. Both sponsors of the Garden Report. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Be like Tom Shucksmith. Okay, Tom Shucksmith just signed up for Calm. He said, "This have done to me." He signed up. Calm.com/garden.
Oh, good.
And
Tom.
first thing it says, Tom Shucksmith, take a deep breath. If that doesn't explain the Celtics season to everybody, then I don't know what does. But this guy,
Wait, hold on.
he's going to sleep a lot better tonight.
Oh, Tom already follows me. Tom, I was going to give you a follow, but God bless you, my friend.
I just gave him a follow because I said I
sunrise in the
would,
background?
and you know
I'm
what?
gonna give-
Good for Tom. Tom is doing what a lot of what Ime should do, what the Celtics should do, is find the best versions of themselves, and that's what Tom's doing by signing up for Calm. He's going to be a better person tomorrow morning. I hope we can say the Celtics are going to be a better team on Saturday because the product tonight simply is not going to cut it.
Imagine
Not gonna
Fournier
cut it.
smokes them again on Saturday.
If they lose, I'll tell you what.
Everyone
if they
give
lose,
Tom a follow. I just gave Tom a follow. Thank you,
I
Tom.
just did. If they
He's got
lose
one.
Saturday, they might hear the loudest boos. And it's a Saturday night. It's going to be a rowdy crowd. They might get the loudest boos that we've heard in the Garden in years.
All
And there's
right.
been some loud
Those
nights,
were
so.
loud ones halftime of the 60-point game. I remember that well.
Send Jimmy your receipts when you sign up for Calm, and we'll all give you a follow. And thank you. It's not much, but we do appreciate it. Honestly, thank you. Support our sponsors. Subscribe.
No more
to our
than 5
channels.
minutes on Causeway, by the way. No more than that.
Yeah, I got them all a spot on Josue's podcast.
Check out. Everyone here has got a pod except for Jimmy. But this is Jimmy's pod.
I'm working on it.
Causeway
And our
Street
fifth guest
Podcast.
of the day is
With Josue Pavon, also writing for Heavy.com. Sherrod Blakely. You can find him everywhere. With the Sherrod, I lose it all the friggin' time on the name of the
Full
blog.
Court Press.
It's the Full Court Press.
Pressbulletin.com.
Yep.
Ebony.com. Stuff with you
Bleacher
guys.
that episode you had with
Bleacher
Gary,
Report.
man.
You know,
That shit had me laughing so hard.
One of the best episodes of the entire run of the A-List podcast, which can be found on the CLNS Media
for real.
Network.
Check it
There
out.
is
With Gary Washburn,
there
terrific
is
chemistry.
nothing like a Gary guest spot.
Yeah, well, Gary's
all I know,
Gary on with
all I know
Sherrod
is
is something else.
all I know is this. I didn't realize that AOL still had a presence. Gary, yeah.
Yeah.
This guy
Yeah.
AOL email?
Gary's
get that, you got
AOL game.
mail.
I didn't realize anyone had an AOL game still, but Gary Washburn does.
Oh.
In fact, to the point where in the middle of our podcast, we heard those infamous words, "You've got mail."
Oh, there it is. I might need to make an
Again,
AOL email account now.
When
It was
I
the
arrived,
All times.
when I arrived at NBC, AOL accounts for Sherrod, for Lou, for I think McAdam,
Curran has AOL.
and Curran. Every single one of them was AOL. It was awesome.
Dude,
And
because
I
they're
didn't
like the
realize that
first
they were
guys.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they were sending me stuff to the AOL account because I wasn't using it.
Yeah.
Until they said, I just sent you a message. I'm like, I didn't get a message. They're like, we sent it to your AOL. Like, oh, shit.
Gary,
many
Gary,
AOLs.
Gary signed off, and you heard the door close. That sound.
Yeah. When he logs out,
Yes.
it's like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Again,
Dial-up.
thanks again, guys. Awesome
exciting.
audience. Awesome audience tonight. Like I said, check out CLNS Media. Bobby's going to have a bunch of stuff on this game up on the site as well, covering the back-to-back stuff. You know, Bobby doesn't get tired, home and away.
Bobby, 40-40 club tonight after this? What's the deal?
We'll see
Don't
if
answer
we
that
get
question, Bobby. Sleep.
Someone said-
Keep it to yourself.
Someone said you're going to Staten Island. You'll be taking shots with
Oh.
Pete Davidson. Is that true?
Oh, him and Pete.
Yeah.
He was
Guys,
not-
thank you everybody for hanging out. Awesome audience tonight. Good crowd. We will see you guys on Saturday. Take care. Good night.